All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. So, a final decision has been made in regards to Deshaun Watson's punishment. Earlier on, he got a 6-game suspension. The NFL appealed it. Many thought they were going to get a year out of this. No one knew how this was going to go. At the end of the day, they came to a decision. Deshaun Watson will now be suspended for 11 games and be fined $5 million. So he's out for the first 11 games of the season. The Browns' bye week is week 12, so his Browns debut, his first game of the season, will be in week 13 against the Houston Texans. Yeah, it's hard for me to believe that the NFL didn't kind of plan for that to be the case. I don't know if they were going to get the year suspension or not. Maybe they looked at it and said, look, we're probably not going to be able to get a year out of this. If we can't get a year, let's try to inch towards him being back by that Texans game. We want to get more games, but if we can't get a year, let's make it so that his first game back would be against the Texans. It's very difficult for me to not believe that was the case because it just so happens that he gets the perfect amount of games to be suspended, and his first game back is against his former team, the Houston Texans, where all this situation started. I refuse to believe that the NFL didn't make some sort of shift towards having that happen once they realized or once they believed they weren't going to get a full year suspension. This is a business after all, and they know what they're looking for. It's all about revenue. It's all about attention. Having Deshaun Watson play his first game against his former team, do you know the type of ratings they're going to get? Whether it's good or bad PR, people are going to be watching, and the NFL understands that because they are a business. So I'm not surprised to see it be 11 games. They could have pushed for 12. They could have pushed for 14. They chose 11 because they knew that was the perfect time for him to come back and go up against the Houston Texans. They know the schedule, so they know what they're doing. Maybe they couldn't get a year, and they said, let's get that at least. But anyway, he goes from being suspended 6 games to being suspended 11 games. Now, to keep it real, to be honest, no matter what the NFL did here, there was going to be outrage. If Deshaun Watson was suspended for a year, people would have been pissed. People would have been outraged. They would have been going on social media talking about that's too many games. He doesn't deserve to be suspended for a year. This, and that. It would have been a problem either way. At the same time, if he got under a year, people would be outraged, go on social media and say, for somebody like this, he's a predator, he should get more than a year, they should be doing the maximum amount of punishment, this is too light, he doesn't deserve to play this year, yada, yada, yada. No matter what the NFL decided or what conclusion they came in terms of Deshaun Watson's punishment, it was going to be an outrage on social media. So they were in a situation where they weren't going to win either way. They just had to come up with a punishment. And no matter what they did, they were going to get some backlash to it. So this is probably going to be discussed for a while. In terms of Deshaun Watson's case, this is pretty much settled. 11-game suspension, $5 million fine. The Browns are moving on. They're moving forward. Deshaun Watson's going to try and move on. They're moving forward. But of course, the backlash is going to be there. And it's going to be discussed as we get closer and closer to that eventual first game in which he plays the Texans, which is going to be a crazy game because, oh man, they're going to be saying quite the amount of things to Deshaun Watson. Hell, in every road game moving forward, the things they're going to be saying to Deshaun Watson is going to be brutal, so I hope he's prepared for that. But yeah, he gets 11 games. He gets a $5 million fine. Not everyone's going to be happy with that. At the end of the day, the NFL made the decision as to how that's going to go. Now, for Deshaun Watson, that means his first game is going to be against the Houston Texans. That should be an interesting one. Honestly, I don't exactly know how the Browns are going to play this because, like, him being gone for 11 games, if this is a team that wants to compete, which obviously they want to, they have the roster to compete, what is their record going to look like? You got to have a record that puts you within the area of contention. Because if Deshaun Watson's gone for 11 games and he comes back and all of a sudden the team's under 500, they're not in contention, would there be a reason to play Deshaun Watson at that point besides getting him some reps? It depends. So it all comes down to how they handle not having Deshaun Watson, how Jacoby Brissett holds it down while Deshaun Watson's gone. No matter how that situation goes, if they're under 500, I'm not sure if Deshaun Watson is going to play. If they're over 500 and they're within contention to make the playoffs, obviously Deshaun Watson is going to play. But either way, for the most part, he's going to be out for the majority of the season. So it is what it is at the end of the day. And again, like I said, no matter what the ruling was going to be, there was going to be backlash from one group that believed that that punishment wasn't what he deserved. Whether he got a year and people believed he didn't deserve that year, or whether he got under a year, in this case he got 11 games, and people believe he should have got more than that. At the end of the day, the NFL had a chance to set the record straight, to set a precedent in terms of how you get punished if you're committing something like this or you get accused of something like this. Because of course, whenever something like this comes up, the NFL has to set a precedent as to what the punishment should be in terms of that situation. They had an opportunity to do so here. At the end of the day, they came up with 11 games and a $5 million suspension. I don't know if they could have got the full season and just decided to not. I don't know. But it definitely is a tough situation. And lastly, in terms of Deshaun Watson himself, whether or not he's innocent or guilty, it's not my call. It's really not my call. And everyone's giving out their personal opinions and how they feel. At the end of the day, the only ones that know the truth about the situation is Deshaun Watson himself and everybody else that was involved in the situation. It's very tough to say whether or not he's innocent or guilty. No matter what side you can take, there's evidence for both sides. It's very difficult. So, at the end of the day, you're free to have your opinion as to which you believe. But, the only ones that know the truth is, again, Watson and everyone else involved. So it's a very tough situation. It's a very dicey situation. He was never charged with any criminal cases. Everything became civil cases, and most of those got settled. So everything, at the end of the day, what do you believe he's innocent? What do you believe he's guilty? It's up to you to make that take. Yeah, but the Browns, they're trying to move on. I will say this, though. The Browns PR team's got to be disgusted with what's happening right now. Because, you're watching Haslam. They're just ruining this right now. What they're saying right now, because you're getting Deshaun Watson coming out here and standing on his statement that he did not harm any of the ladies. He did not do what they're saying he's doing. He's maintaining his innocence. And then you're having Haslam come out here and say that he's remorseful, he will grow from this, he will learn from this, and the way he's implying it makes it sound like he's guilty. Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson's maintaining his innocence. Then again, you could take it as if he's saying that, he's remorseful for putting himself in this position because, of course, the Browns believe he's innocent or not, whatever position they take on that, it just feels weird, okay? Because you got Watson coming out here standing on this ground that he's innocent, and then you got Haslam coming out here saying he's remorseful, he's gonna learn from this, he's only 26 years old, so obviously he's gonna grow from it. You're making it sound like y'all believe he's guilty, he's just here because of his talent. And if y'all really do believe he's guilty, why did you give him that amount of money in the first place? You gave him that deal, but you believe he's guilty. I don't know, man. The whole situation is wild. The Browns PR team just wishes Watson and Haslam will just stop talking about this because y'all making their job 1,000 times worse. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Browns, figure out your situation. So, yeah, that's it. Watson gets 11 games and a $5 million suspension. There's obviously going to be an outrage and backlash for the decision that was made. And there's going to be a group of people that are also going to be pissed that he got 11 games in the first place because they believed he shouldn't have got any games at all. So, no matter what happens, there's going to be backlash for this. The NFL is going to deal with it the way they've dealt with every one of their controversies, and things are going to keep moving forward. It's not, this whole talk with Deshaun Watson is not going to end anytime soon. It's going to be talked about now, and then it's going to die down, but it's going to rise again as we get closer and closer to Deshaun Watson's debut against the Texans. And then once that game happens, it's going to be up again. So this is a conversation that's going to be happening for the next several months. It'll die down for a while, and then it'll rise back again as Deshaun gets closer and closer to actually being able to play on the field. And once he plays, boom, it's going to be discussed again. So yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day when it comes to the situation. With that being said, that is all I've got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.